sa, spravím tebe hambu.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay, thank you.
Som od horčice.
Čo? No tu na fúzok, ale poď.
Pokiaľ Slováky kývajú menej ako 5%, ale je to v poriadku. So, thank you for coming to our panel discussion about Slovak music scene outside of Bratislava. My name is Michal Klembara. I am host today for this panel, and I am also the chairman of Slovak Network of Cultural Centers, and also I am director of one of them. We will today talk mostly about independent cultural centers in Slovakia, which are which are most likely the places the foreign band can play in Slovakia. My guests are people from 3 different independent cultural centers, and they will briefly introduce.
Okay, welcome. My name is Robert Blaško. I'm from Žilina, kind of small city, like 100,000 inhabitants, and we first made the cultural center in a still functioning railway station, and then a couple of years later we made a renovation of a very famous architectural monument by Peter Behrens, and it's a former synagogue. So we have 2 venues, and then we also had an experimental venue made out of 3,000 beer crates, but somebody set it in fire, so it's gone. And we are doing like 300 events, but just part of it is music. It's maybe around 40-50 concerts a year.
Hello, my name is Milan, Slama. I'm working at the culture center Záhrada, which means garden, in Banská Bystrica in the middle of Slovakia. It's also the city of like 100,000 or a bit less. And we have a big garden, like 2,000 square meters in the city center, with a venue of like 250 square meters. It's the same way as Robo said, around 350 events a year, from which like 40-50 is music, and that's it.
My name is Patrik Richtárech. I work in Klub. Klub is open culture space and current alternative scene, which is located in western Slovakia. Trenčín is like 50,000 people, and Klub is the third oldest alternative culture space in Slovakia since 1968. Just begin that time the club, and many successful and well-known personalities and Slovak cultural and social life began their artistic activities there. That's it.
Okay, so you started the first topic of discussion, and that is that we are not music clubs, we are cultural centers, but bands usually think about our spaces, our venues as we are music venue only, but there are a lot of differences. Maybe you can, Robo, tell us more about what are cultural centers, what is the difference between them and the classic music clubs?
Yeah, I mean, it's the dramaturgy and the variety of the genres, and also it's more about, for me, the building of community, and so the music is a big part of it, but it's not the main. And then we have a lot of complaints from many bands that why we cannot play there, and because it's just a part of the big mosaic and bigger picture. So maybe you want to add something?
Yeah, this is like the community is very important in this, and also the diversity of the arts that are promoted. For example, we in Záhrada we are focused more in theater and contemporary dance, and also like visual arts. So music is just like maybe 1/4 of our program. And what is the difference for me? Also, it's also maybe in funding. There's we like the multi-genre culture centers. We are funded from the Slovak Arts Council. It's like that, yeah. In like music clubs, it's more usual that they are funding themselves, like the bands. So if you are a band and you come to the club, usually in Slovakia, it's usual that you get just the entry fees from the visitors. So we are working in a different way. We are inviting artists who we like and want to present in our yearly plan of events. So I think this is also the difference, that we are picking more carefully the content which we want to promote.
Okay, and
for Klub Luce,
okay, you can talk.
Yeah, for Klub Luce, we are doing mainly music. It's more than 100 events for the year, but also theater. Theater is very important for us. For the future, we have interesting project like a container theater, and that's it.
Okay. If you started with the programming of the program in your center, so maybe you can tell more, all of you, about how you are choosing the bands, what genre maybe you prefer, or what is your attitude to programming of your center.
So in our case, we don't have a board, or it's very much based on a personality of a particular dramaturg who is choosing the program, and we never ever put any limits or direction to the dramaturgy. So this person who is responsible for the music band's program is totally free. Of course, we stand for some values that we share together, and it's been always like this, and it's also changing. We have the history of maybe more than 25 years on the scene. So, for example, now the old dramaturg left, so we have open dramaturgy, and there are maybe 6 people who can program a gig. So it's very open now and diverse. And we started as a venue that was focused very much on experimental music. And then there was a problem in a small town to develop a audience for very experimental music. So now we program the experimental music for the festivals where we have the audience coming from different countries or from the whole Slovakia. And nowadays I started kind of a support program for starting bands and local bands, because I understood that we were so picky that then the new bands and young bands didn't have a place to start. So I understood as also active musician that this is very important, and I opened the gates for more local bands and starting bands.
In Záhrada we have like two main lines in programming. It's first one is our own dramaturgy of the bands, which are chosen by a music dramaturgist, one of the 4 or 5 people who are responsible for the program. And the next one is also renting the place for bands, for like bigger names in Slovakia. But also in this like renting line, there is our. It's important for us to also choose and have the right to deny the to not give space for someone who we don't want to present in our view of what we want to present. Then, as Robo said, it's very individual, and it's mainly based on the personality of the dramaturgist, which in our case it's maybe 4th or 5th person in these 10 years we are existing. So it's one of the most changing position. And yes, with these dramaturgists we went through like jazz, more like jazz focused, or then like electronic music. Now it's going more to like underground or indie music, but we are trying also to make the music program diverse. So we also do experimental music, but it's the same case. It's hard to build the audience for this, and we never managed to build the audience big enough to make this experimental music more interesting for more people to have it. And that's it. Like in summer we like to do like outdoors shows. It's also more audience can come, so it's better for us. And I forgot to say that it's also like this music or these concerts where we are renting the place, or for the bigger names, it's also quite a big part of our income. So we can then fund the smaller and not so popular artists in the like next program.
For Klub Luč, we are open to any kinds of music, from punk to pop. We do even metal, noise, any kind of music. And actually we have small problem, well small. We have big problem with our venue. Our old venue is under reconstruction, so we have to wait till the next year. So just now we have a really small venue which can takes like 50 people, and not to make some big noise or anything like that. So just now it's a little bit complicated for us.
Milan, you mentioned that you have a problem to build an audience for some kind of music, but what are you trying to do with in the work with audience, public?
Like in the last years, we are trying to do this experimental or some other unusual music shows together with, for example, some workshops of the artists for the public, or discussion before or after the show. It depends on the artist, of course, if they want to share. But this is one thing we quite want anyone who come to Záhrada to perform is to share the time, not just the time of the performance, but the time also before or after the performance with the audience, so they can get closer and they can meet artists in personal, and that's the way how we are trying to also like educate people. Really, we are trying to get people, for example, with a combination with some local band, with some unknown, also foreign band, to get like the local audience to see something what they don't know, because this is the big problem that I think that. Especially in our city, it's really like people don't attend shows or any kind of performances which they don't know the names from radio, TV, or anything. So that's it.
And this work with local bands is helping with that?
Yeah, it's like always when you have a local band, you will get all the families there, and also friends, and mainly with the student bands. So we are trying to make it like, I think it's helping. Yes, like they can bring the audience, which then will stay also for another show, which they maybe don't know, but they are there, they are drinking their beer, so they will stay.
I mean, we have the similar strategy as well, and it works. And also we realize that our audience is getting older, so it happens with many also other venues. When I was speaking with in Europe, because we are part of Trans-Europe Hall network, so we share these experiences. And so what happened in our venue, that we opened so-called Young Office, which is a bunch of young people, and we gave them budget, and we promised that we will not step in and they can do whatever they like. So we try to attract also a new audience younger than us. But getting old is also fun.
Did you get a lot of offers from bands, or what is the strategy for programming? You are reacting on offers that are coming from bands, or you are looking actively for the gigs you want to present?
It's both, but of course we have maybe, I don't know, 6-8 times more offers than we can actually do. So it's an endless chain of emails, offers.
So I don't want to say.
Milan?
Yes, it's the same. In our, like, we are trying to also to choose when someone from the team has some interesting new name. So we are also inviting artists directly, but also we are choosing from the offers, which is really like many. So it's often very hard to respond to these offers negatively. So for few years we've been inventing these right words to say that yes, your music is fine, but we really don't have so much space because we are not a music club. We are focused on different things also. So it's also many bands complaining why they cannot play every year, for example, like once a year. So this is the reason that we have one venue and we have just some days in a year, so cannot go farther with this.
Oh yeah, we have the similar strategy that like these bands, which also can bring profit and so on, but we try to do it every other year. So we have also similar strategy than not to bring them every year and to make more room for new bands and new names.
I think the what we have in common is also that we are focusing really in alternative, some alternative music. So we also do more mainstream Slovak bands, but this is the thing that we are trying to make it really like 3 or 4 big shows a year, like this, where we can also make some extra money for the really small and often quite expensive alternative things.
What is good for band to send you in the offer? What will catch your eye more easily? What do you need to know or see from the band to be positive about the offer?
It's very hard. Like sometimes there comes an email without any link or photo or video or music file, but with very like warm and warm words about that. Yes, I feel this can fit in your venue and we know the venue, and so you then ask for the link or music or something, because this is the like most necessary thing if you don't know the band. In other emails you get the opposite way, that okay, we are on tour and on Sunday we want to play in your venue. Is the place free? And that's not the way that we like. So often people think that it's our duty to present them because we are funded from public money. But they need to understand that we, to get the money, we have to obhájiť, ako je. We have to explain to our funders what is our dramaturgy, what is our aim, and what is our like public development strategy, audience development strategy, or these things. So there is much more work behind the venue than just the equipment and the space itself. So this is what we are trying in nice words to explain to the bands, that it's not about that we don't like your music, it's about that we have some plan for this year and we need to go with this plan.
What we also try to do is that to make the redistribution, so if we have these offers and we see that it's more appropriate for other really music clubs, so we then send them links and contacts to all other music venues that we know that are more suitable for them, so at least we try to help this way.
How are you trying to work with Slovak local music scene in your cities? Do you have some active approach to it, or it's just something like one minor part of your program? Because there was like huge wave in the past in Slovakia that clubs were going more to foreign bands and Slovak bands not always have a space for some development or to get experiences with the playing in their hometowns. How it now in your places?
Yeah, like we had maybe 60% of the program was an international program, and then I talked to local musicians, and they were really like sad, and also the corona changed it, so we started to really be more focused to help them, and now I do a program that I usually make 3 bands in a row from one genre, so it's like 3 metal bands or 3 punk bands or 3 rock bands or 3 rap bands or whatever, so that we also try to really be more focused. And when we lost the venue, and I understood that we survived just because of the huge community which supported us after this disaster, so I try to also give back some energy back to local community.
We are trying also to help the bands, local musicians, in other ways. One, it's they can come and ask for a space to, for example, rehearse before a show, like not a long-term rehearse room, but for some some bands been even recording some CD or albums in our venue, and also we are giving the space for local bands for example shooting of music video or something. And also, like, during the corona, we've been working with local musicians on some online streams, so they can also have quite a high quality video and audio recording of their show, because many bands don't have this. So that's it.
I realized the really big problem also in my town is that this town is kind of industrial, and there was no cultural policy. Like, we tried also to attract European Cultural Foundation from the Netherlands and to make the new cultural policy for the whole region around my town. We worked very hard for 3 years, and after that the politicians, they just signed it and put it somewhere. Just basically nothing was realized. So it's the similar situation also with the town, that there is no cultural policy, and it's the case of many towns in Slovakia, and I think this is the biggest problem nowadays, that also the towns, they just go nowhere. I mean, it depends on the mayor and depends on the changing political situation. So now we realize in cultural sector that we have to push more and work in this direction to really create some strategies.
Patrik?
We are trying to support some local bands as well, local DJs too, and
Yeah,
So,
like, I will just add to what Robo said. With the, it's not just the city don't have these policies to support young musicians. It's I think, I don't know if it's, I think it's different in every city, but I also noticed some, like, that the youth is quite losing interest in doing. I have a problem in the city to find like young local bands who are really wants to move with their music somewhere. So this is also for me one of the problems we have to, like, why the culture centers are important in this segment is also that people can see what it means to be a musician and what it means to perform on the stage, and it can attract, like, more people to start a band maybe when they see that there is an infrastructure to do something, then they will.
So it's only coincidence, but all of you are also the active musicians. So what it is maybe changing in your work in Cultural Center that you are active artist, musician? What do you maybe do differently, or what do you see in this work?
I think it's a kind of, you see it from the other side, through the eyes of artists, which is really good experience. I just started my band when I was 40, so I'm brand new in this, but it helped me to make the conditions more suitable, and also I had this experience of a starting band, so which is very valuable now for me. Like to play for a really small audience, and or to have bad conditions and to struggle. So we always had a policy, like it was not written, but in our cultural center, that the artists are gods, and we just have to serve them. And I think it's good to continue this way. I think it's very important.
For us, it's also important to make the conditions very comfortable for the artist. It's also like I think all of the venues which we are here for, it's for example the conditions, like technical conditions and the venue conditions. It's not like some very high-tech fancy clubs. So we are trying to do as much as we can for the artists to feel good in the venue. So we are even like making sometimes some decorations in the dressing room, and really like some people who like the artists, they prepare some surprise for them or something. But also with the light and sound, we are trying to do the best what is possible. So it's also important for us that the artists are happy to come back to the venue, and also maybe we can compensate them that maybe also the financial conditions are not perfect. We are trying also with some foreign bands. We managed to go down with the fee like quite nice. So then we are trying to compensate this with the approach we have.
I think what we are very good at, because we are very much focused on theater, that we have really good light designers in the house. So I think we have something special also at Záhrada, that we turn the gig to kind of theatrical experience with really good light design.
And do you think bands really care about this thing? I have experience from my venue that usually bands doesn't care about lights, or they even didn't have any specific idea what they want to look like on the stage.
Yeah, they should, I think.
Yeah, they should, of course.
Yeah, some of them care and some of them not. Someone has in the rider that don't use pink light, or another like blue or something. They don't like the color, or it doesn't comes with the music, or I don't know. But yes, most of the bands has no requirements for the lights, so it's also like very creative time for our technicians to really set some nice stage design for the show. And then the band also appreciates this in the end.
Okay, maybe we can now talk maybe not only about your cultural centers, but also about whole scene outside of Bratislava, which I didn't mention in the beginning, but in Slovakia there is like more than 30 independent cultural centers, which is not so usual in other European countries. We have these centers not only in the big cities, but also in the small towns or countryside. And if I remember correctly, Robo, you were in the beginning of the network of these cultural centers. It's called ANTENA, which represents most of them. Can you talk us about this side of the work more?
Yeah, I mean, the result of maybe, I don't know, 20 years that we try to start more of the collaboration is that, okay, there are more and more cultural centers, but also in the official cultural policy of the Slovak Arts Council, the cultural center is considered as a separate grant program to be supported. It means that when we started to talk in the state level 20 years ago, they didn't understand this concept of cultural centers, and nowadays it became a norm. So this was, I think, the biggest achievement what we get, and that's why also there are new cultural centers, because the state supports the creation of new ones, and there is a policy, there is a budget. So I think this is the main successful answer to this story of getting people on one board and to connect to this cultural network of ANTENA, and we were very much inspired, as also is the VUG is part of by Transeuropean network in Europe.
Also, I think it's important to say in connection with ANTENA with music is that we also use ANTENA as a platform to share the content. So it happened more times that we shared a concert of a foreign band in the centers. So we made a tour like together to get down with the expenses, with the costs. So that's also a big advantage of being in a network. It's to share the experiences, but also to share the artists. And yeah, that's it.
And how this work in the network is sharing of content?
It's just someone sends a mass email that we have this artist come in next year, and who is interested. And it's I think most of the cases when this happened, there are at least two another members who will take the show.
Okay, if somebody from audience have questions, now is the time to ask. We have also the microphone for that.
I have a question. Should I take the microphone or can I speak on the streaming? Is this working? Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to me. I'm managing a band from Austria, and I wanted to ask a question about the network that you were talking about. So, do I get this right? There's the possibility to maybe send some demos to one of your cultural centers, and you would promote them within the network somehow?
Yeah, it's not a rule like this, you know.
Yeah,
sometimes, but yes, when the band asks us to give an advice where to perform in Slovakia, the next cities, this is the first choice we have. That yes, you can go to these different kind of places which do kind of more or less similar kind of program. Like not.
Yeah, and also like at least that you have one web page of ANTENA network, that you have all the other contacts, so you don't need to search so much where are the other venues in Slovakia. And also it helps when, for example, you made a great gig in one of the centers, that then it works as a reference.
Mhm.
So if you also approach next year the other venue and they say like you can ask them for the feedback and we had great feedback, it works, so it helps.
Okay. So, is there some kind of platform or some kind of central address that an artist could approach for this?
Maybe also the chairman can answer.
We as a network are not trying to make any influence in the programming of the member centers. So we are not doing this kind of thing, but it's working like guys.
We are not.
It's based on-
Antenna is not doing this as a service. It's
Yeah.
more like the dramaturgists in the centers. They know each other. So when, for example, there is a band which has a very big travel expenses to come, then for us to lower the expenses, it's more efficient to ask another venues to share the travel expenses, and also is better for the band and also for the environment and all this.
For sure. So the right way would be to maybe contact one of
Yes.
you
Yes.
three, perhaps, and
Yes.
the rest is word of mouth, basically.
Yes, or you have also the others, and you can copy this email also to other venues.
Yeah, but communication between members is really quick and
Mhm.
day-to-day basis, so
Okay.
it's very fast usually.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
thank you.
I just want to ask, I am managing a band from Prague, and we already had like 2 concerts in Slovakia this summer. But I want to ask, we kind of crashed with the idea that we want to get some support from other Slovakian bands, so we can like be sure that somebody's coming to our concert, and also kind of connect with Slovakian bands and stuff. So I just want to ask if your cultural centers are providing something like that, like if I wrote you that we want to have a concert and your dramaturgy, like people said that it's good, if there is some help from your side that you will find a band that's kind of like similar to the music, or that just goes with our music and just connect the concert, so you have some like assurance about that people are coming and the families and friends, and they are gonna stay with the beer for us.
I mean, for sure, like we know the scenes, so we can advise very easily, and it's always a good idea to make this concert of 2 bands at least, or to have a support band or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it happened more times that the band asked really for the local support, and yes, we can provide this. Yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say with this, but
you provide
yeah.
Somebody else? So if not, thank you all of you to come in here and to have this discussion. Also, I'm thanking the audience for participation. So thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.